So, what's been making the round about economics is that petrodollars video, as far as the basic understanding that everybody's going to, right? But the thing that it talks about ultimately is that everybody's, like the narrative that the Bitcoiners, the gold bugs have spread all up and down here on YouTube, the message and everything that they've pushed for the most part, it's been that, how shall I say this? The petrodollar system is under threat by the Russians and the BRIC nations. You know, what what ultimately happens to that threat? You know, in a world in which Russia, is now considered an unreliable trading partner because the U.S. just pushed it into a default on its debts. You know, do you really think that the most commonly discussed narrative here on YouTube is right? And commonly discussed internet meme about all this is correct. Still, you still have faith in the most pushed narrative in a world in which the countries that were supposed to be such a big threat to the petrodollar system are now being pushed towards default on their debts. The world is going to have tried to break free from the petrodollar system only to end up hopelessly enslaved to it. There's kind of going to be there's a beautiful irony in the economic data in that, you know, Russia was trying to create a whole system that, and people have been frustrated everywhere else in every other country about the fact that the US dollar grants the United States an exorbitant privilege, and now the one thing that was the biggest threat to it, the United States has managed to weaponize its dollar in order to destroy the Russian economy and push it into default. And the White House doesn't expect very much impact on the U.S. and global markets as a result of this. They don't think that it's going to be that big. We expect that the impact on the U.S. and the global economy is going to be given that Russia has already been isolated financially, White House spokesperson said. That being said, Treasury Department continues to monitor these combinations with the global financial community. The United States pushed Russia closer to the brink of a historic debt default on Wednesday by not extending its license to pay bondholders as Washington ramps its pressure following Russia's actions in Ukraine. The Treasury Department said on its website on late Tuesday that it would lapse a license which expired at 12:00 a.m. ET 04 GMT on Wednesday that allowed Russia to make interest and maturity payments on its sovereign debts to U.S. person. This waiver has allowed Russia to keep up government debt payments, but its expiry now appears to make a default inevitable on at least some of its $40 billion of international bonds, Russia's first major external one for more than a century. Western sanctions imposed after the Kremlin's every 24th invasion of Ukraine and countermeasures from Moscow have complicated the movement of money across borders, and yet Russia has made a conscious effort to continue paying its bondholders. True, it has made a conscious effort, but let's see how long they can actually keep that up. And I've been linked to the petrodollar, system because the most common discussion is about how the petrodollar system is now under threat. Well, I don't know how much of a threat it can be under if the Russians are now considered internationally, an unreliable trading partner as a result of a default on their bonds.